My name is Jason. I'm a principal quality assurance engineer, and I figured I'd take some time to go over a little bit about me, how I got started, and how I got to where I am now. I don't typically do these type of vlog formats, so it might be a little bit rough, but let me know if you like it. First thing I want to kind of explain is that on my other videos that you're seeing lately, you don't see my face anymore. You're seeing my avatar. You can see him in the corner right now. Basically, it's just a PNG VTuber, but whenever I talk, it talks. This makes it easier for me to quickly create content for you guys because being on the camera takes extra work. I always feel really awkward being on the camera, and content that I'm bringing you doesn't really require you to look at my face. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different and have a little cartoon avatar speak in my place. So the questions about me that people usually ask are how long I've been working as a QA. I've been doing the QA role for about 20 years now, give or take. I've worked at 7 different companies. The companies range from big corporate giants to startups with 20 people or less. Over those 20 years, I've been mostly a QA engineer, but I do have a few years where I tried something different. There was about a year where I did the business systems analyst role, and there was actually a few months where I was actually helping the team with doing iOS app development. After all these years, I'll tell you that I don't regret being in QA engineering because honestly, I really enjoy it. So in the earlier years, I didn't really understand what a QA was. But when I got my first job, I didn't even know what a QA engineer was. I was a business information system major, and I applied for this internship placement company that my university recommended to me. So let me first tell you about that process. They had about 5 spots available for students, and I was lucky enough to get one of those 5 spots. Basically, you apply to the company and you do an interview, but it's one of the companies that volunteered to do the initial interviews with students prior to you being placed into your own internship. So the company I was interviewing with, I don't remember who the company was. They were a company that sold car parts or aftermarket car parts on the internet. And it just happened to be a good fit for me to be able to talk to them because at the time, this is when the first Fast and the Furious movie came out and was really popular. So it's during the time when a lot of people were trying to pimp their ride, right? So I had experience that I could use during my interview because I didn't know what else to talk about. Basically, they're asking me things like, what are challenges that you've had and how did you solve them? So I just talked about working on my car. I'm just like, sometimes when you buy parts, they don't fit correctly. So you have to cut and modify them. You have to use zip ties and you have to use duct tape, whatever. But the context of how I interviewed with them showed 2 things. It showed that I was able to use problem solving to solve any problem that I came across. And I was thinking outside of the box in order to make those solutions. Obviously, duct tape and zip ties are not the best solution for sticking things on your car, but I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who did it. And the other thing that this conversation did was they were really into it. The interviewers were into an understanding of what I was doing, why I was doing it, and understood the struggles that I felt. So we had a connection right there. So I think I got really lucky with the company that was placed with me because right off the bat, we had an instant connection. So it made the interview very relaxed, very conversational, very fun. And it was less of an interview and it was more of a conversation because I'm pretty sure most of my answers were related to doing stuff to the car and possibly some of them were related to my schoolwork and my future goals. So these internship interviews were not for QA. It was just for some IT related job that business systems analyst students could apply for and do. So it's stuff like systems admin, maybe doing some database stuff, nothing really into coding or development, but it's more related to business processes that dealt heavily with IT related concepts. So after that interview, I was accepted into the program. And then the next step of that program was to actually interview with the companies that wanted to hire you. I got several calls from different companies. So I think there were like 2 or 3 companies that called me and interviewed with me over the phone. And basically they wanted strong SQL skills. But at that time, I didn't really have any SQL skills. I think I did a little bit of SQL in one of my classes, but that was it. I couldn't remember anything because it was probably like 2 years prior to that. And it's not something I did on a daily basis. So I didn't get those. But the one I did get was with a big corporate company, and I kind of got help with getting this one. It's one of those times where when you know somebody, then it helps you get your foot in the door. So I had a friend that I worked with at a previous internship, and he knew I was looking, and he told his company about me because they were actually looking for another intern to go join them. So they called me up, interviewed in person. They asked me QA questions. I didn't really know what QA was, like I said, but they kind of asked me things like, have you ever tested things and tried to see how they work, right? It's like, have you ever had a website that was not working all of a sudden? And what did you do to try to figure out if it's you, if it's the website, or if it was something else? So basically very generic high level questions, some process stuff, but mostly like kind of how you think, because as an intern coming in, they don't really expect you to have a lot of domain knowledge of whatever you're going to do, because they know you're just a student. They know you don't have experience doing all these things. They're just looking to see how you think and how you might be working with the team, because the rest of the stuff you're going to be learning on the job. So basically at the end of the interview, they offered me the internship and I started working there. I think I did the internship for about 6 months, which was the term for the internship, and they did renew me. So I did work a little bit longer as an intern, and my school was almost done. So I actually held off my graduation for an extra term so that I can continue the internship. So I did that. I worked at this internship like it was my job. I didn't work at it like I was a student doing an internship. I worked at it like it was my responsibility, and I basically took ownership of whatever they gave me, and I took it really seriously. So at the time, 20 years ago, honestly, there was not a lot of good QA resources to kind of get knowledge and information from. So I couldn't just go to YouTube and find out what is a QA, how to be a QA, all these things. That stuff didn't really exist back then, or if it did, it wasn't really good. I Googled on websites and stuff and found some information, but it wasn't really how, it was more of what. And that helped me get over some obstacles, but the rest of it, I kind of just had to figure out on my own and make up myself, because my manager and my team lead, neither one of them were QAs. So they didn't have experience on doing the QA role. So they didn't really have advice to give me specifically for that, but they were devs. They just knew from the dev point of view that a QA needs to write test cases, they need to execute the test cases, they need to file bugs, they need to verify the bugs, and that's it. All the other important aspects of QA were never taught to me. So I only had the bare minimum. But what I did was I took that, and since that's all I had, I focused on that and became super good at that process. So I think I was creating probably like 20 bugs a day. The reason why it's 20 bugs is twofold. It's because number one, the project was a greenfield project, so brand new, and it hadn't had any QA visibility over it all this time. So there was a lot of issues because number one, they might not be fully implemented, and number two, there's just a lot of bugs because nobody reported that they're bugs. The second reason why there was a lot of bugs reported by me is because my bug process was too granular. So I was kind of doing things at like a pixel by pixel and word by word and field by field kind of level. A lot of those bugs probably could have been consolidated into one thing because they were basically the same bug, just on different parts of the same page or different parts of the same component. So there was probably a lot of optimization that could have been done, but it's okay. I was in the groove and nobody complained. So I was really good at what I was doing and able to find bugs. And because of that, basically I was offered a full-time position at the end of my internship, which of course I took. And basically that same year, I think the team was growing and the product was growing. So I would no longer be the only QA on the team. I would be on the QA with, I think it was 2 or 3 other QA engineers that were working in the company, but they were working in India. So I was working with people in multiple time zones. So I was actually in the West Coast, and the expansion of our team brought in more people that were on the East Coast. And then also we had engineers in China and in India. So we had multiple varying time zones that we had to work with people with. So it was very interesting. But within that same year, when that happened, they basically made me the QA team lead for that product, which is great and all, I guess, but it didn't really make sense thinking back to it because I was just starting my career. I didn't know all the things that QAs need to do, and I didn't know anything about being a team lead. Just like everything else, I basically learned by doing. Long story short, I probably overworked myself doing this role because I was working my time zone, plus I was logging in early to work in the East Coast time zone, and I was logging in again at night to work with the QAs on their time zone. And I actually remember times when they would message me in the evening or late at night and tell me that the server is down or something wasn't working in the lab. So I would actually drive to the lab and restart machines. Only person in the building, just me. I think one time the janitor scared me by walking by. Only person in the building, completely dark, in the server lab, flipping switches. That's something I wouldn't do again. Work your 8 hours. Don't go to the office at 2 o'clock in the morning to flip a switch and then go to work at 6 a.m. the next day. It's not healthy. Looking back at that, I think for the company, it was good for me to be the team lead because it was good enough, right? We got the stuff done. They said our releases were clean, and I was like a super junior person, and it didn't require bringing on somebody at a higher experience level and incurring the cost for that extra person. I guess they got some cheap labor off of me. One, because I was working too many hours for what I was doing, and two, I was probably doing a role that was probably 3 or 4 levels above my actual position. So did I get a lot of experience out of that? Did I learn something? Did I grow from all that? Yes. Would I do it again today? No. Would I do it again in the past? I probably would still, just because that's part of how I got to where I am today. I always say that the things that you do in your past affect who you are in the future. If you change the things that you did in your past, then you're not going to be the same person that you are today. So I'm pretty sure there's some famous person that has a better version of that quote, but I think you all understand what I'm talking about. Anyways, that's it for my story for today. Let me know if you like this video, like this format, want me to do more, what else you want me to talk about. And if not, I'll just go back to my faceless videos and teach you guys stuff that way. It's 6:46 a.m. on a Saturday, so I'm going to go brush my teeth and go do something else. See you later.